So Janu Shirshasana is bringing foot to inner thigh. So one hip thigh is externally rotated, the other leg is long. Inhale, reach up, push your foot into the wall. And then exhale, hinge and fold, reach for the bar. Good. Inhale, lift the chest up and over the bar. Pull the bar down and back so you feel like the whole torso, the chest is going to lift up and over the bar. Press your right foot into the wall as you pull your right hip back. Good. So this is a way to encourage the core to come on board. Lift and lengthen up and over. Good. You can add the second part where you start to bend the knees, bringing belly to thigh, keeping the spine nice and long. If you've got someone with really, really long hammies, you place a block. So you give them a few more inches to work with. So now it's block, foot to wall. Right. Inhale, exhale. Good. And so you can stay for however long you'd like. Now the assist in this is I take the top of your sacrum and I lift it in and up.
Oh.
Too much?
No.
And so that encourages what's called sacral nutation. Inhale. And exhale. Too much? This encourages, the tailbone to move freely away from the sit bones. Like a dog lifting its tail, and that nutation encourages the spine to lengthen, encourages the pelvis to interior tilt. Good, go ahead and switch sides. Inhale, arms reach up, grow nice and tall. Feel the length of your spine. Push your foot into the wall. And exhale, hinge and fold. Reach for the bar. Once you have your grip, pull down, pull the bar towards you. Inhale, lift the chest up like you're going to reach your chest up and over the bar. So you can work here. You can stay lengthening. Try to lift your tail long behind you. Try to peel your tail away from your sit bones. The belly comes towards the thighs. And then you can bend elbows. Bringing your gaze either to your knee or your big toe, depending on where you're going. If you're looking for more of a rounded spine, you bring your gaze to your knee. If you're looking for length, you bring your gaze to your big toe. Inhale to release. Baddha Konasana. Soles of the feet together, toes open against the wall. Walk your hips forward. Press your heels and pinky toe edge of your foot into each other. Just that little pressing, like your feet are going to open like a book, brings the knees down just a little bit. But remember our pelvic variation. Like, we may not ever get the knees to the floor. What we're going for is that broad fascial tug. Do you feel some length, some maybe comfortable discomfort, right? The hands are holding onto the bar about shoulder width, elbows straight down, chest lifts up. See if you can roll the pubic bone down, the front of your pelvis. So you're rolling the pubic bone down, lifting the chest up. Can do the same assist here for your students. Another variation besides the bar would be to crawl the hands up. Someone who's really back here, right, who's really posterior tilted, you want them to reach up as high as they can and then pull the shoulders down, not the biceps, pull the shoulders down, lift the chest up. So we're awakening those trapezius, right? Trapezius, serratus, lats. Good. And then you can release. Same thing with Sukhasana. Easy pose. So, we're about arm's distance away.
Oh,
Sorry. So pulling down, lifting the chest up, toes are flexed back. You can hinge and fold. See if you can get into your hips. Some people can go way far. So good. Yeah. And Prema, if you want to scoot your hips back, you can. See if you can go further. Not everybody can. So just notice how we're using the bar maybe a little differently to lengthen and work the tilt of the pelvis, right? So oftentimes the tailbone, so if you look at my tailbone, this is that posterior tilt that we see people in, right? And they're like, I want a forward fold. So pull down on the bar, roll the pubic bone to the floor, right? So that's what the bar is helpful. You can switch your legs and get both sides really nicely. And you could do, goodness, you could do fire log here even. Look at that. So much. You could do Gomukhasana here. Right? So there's a good bar. Good, something good to work with, finding the tilt of the pelvis for hip opening. That way the low back isn't having to be compromised in our hip work. Right? Elongating the spine, beautiful.
I also feel that in the shoulders when I'm not rolling out through my back.
Mm.
And I'm using those shoulder blades and those muscles to keep my back.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay, I'm gonna give each of you a blanket.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, Triangmukha Paschimottanasana. Did I say Triangmukha Ekipada Paschimottanasana? Is that right? I'm really being challenged. Challenging my Sanskrit. Internal rotation of your thigh. So we do a lot of external rotation in yoga, and I was working with a chiropractor once, and they said, you know, all the yogis have great external rotation, right? Very generalized statement. She's like, but what you don't do often is the internal rotation. She said, you really need to balance your internal and external. And so I took that to heart, and I started exploring that for my hips. And it was very true. It did change my practice. So I like to make my little bench a blanket. So pubic bone, 2 sit bones, right? So I feel supported. My little tripod. And again, I have to measure my legs distance here. I'm gonna do it this way. Obviously, you have to have someone with knee flexion, right? So maybe this is more intermediate, but here we are, whoever shows up. We've got right foot by the hip, left foot forward, both knees are in line with hips. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, hinge and fold. Triang Mukha Ekapada Paschimottanasana. That's it. So inhale. So see how the traps and lats you were saying? We're going to use that to lengthen the spine. Tip, tip, tip the pelvis forward. And if it doesn't work, you bring your seat higher.
Yep. So how does this back foot go?
So the toes are in line with the knee, top of the foot on the floor. Yes, all
Like
5
this?
toes are on the, yep, so here, this, you might actually really like having a bolster, so come on. Whether you need it or not, I wanna show you this. So go ahead and sit. So pubic bone, 2 sit bones. Yes.
Oh, so much better.
Good. Yeah, and there you are. So heel is next to hip. All 5 toenails are on the ground. The kneecap and the toes are all in alignment. Take an inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold. Nice. And bring your attention back to your pelvis. Can you lift up and out of the waist? Pull down on the bar. Lift the chest up and over the bar. Grow long through your spine. Try to lift your tailbone away from your pelvis. Like a dog lifting its tail. Your hip crease deepens. Good. Slowly release and switch sides. And I actually have to flip my bolster
I was gonna say
to get my foot.
It
Yep.
feels that way.
Yep, I just do a little flip.
Is that
That's right.
this way?
Yep.
Okay. And then I'm putting this one. Oh.
Nice, yes. My hyperextenders, that's great. Yeah, that looks good. I was gonna say, you're good. And I think in the Ashtanga practice, the knee actually starts to open in a different variation, right? We start with the knees coming out of the hips, and then eventually, I'm not sure which one that is. Maybe it's when we do the laterals. Is it the laterals? I can't remember. It's been a while.
I'm not very educated in the Ashtanga.
It's been a minute. Let's see what Iyengar says.
stretch on this side more than when I forward fold. It's almost like I want to go backward, weirdly.
You want to stretch your hip flexor a bit. Maybe. Which we're gonna do in back bending tomorrow.
Feels good. Oh, there's my poster. Oh my gosh, yes.
Here it is. Yes, and Mr. Iyengar has his knees apart in Janu Shirshasana, and